I will resign as Speaker of the House, effective upon the election of my successor. God bless this institution. God bless the United States.
House Speaker Jim Wright calling it quits under the dome, under a cloud. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. Speaker of the House Jim Wright of Texas announced late today he is resigning. He becomes the first speaker in U.S. history to resign in midterm amid questions about his judgment and conduct. Wright will also give up his House seat. His announcement came in an impassioned defense of his record and his integrity in an address to his House colleagues. CBS News Chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer was there.
When he finally decided it had to be done, he went to the place where he had spent most of his life to tell his side of the story, the floor of the House of Representatives.
All of us in both political parties must resolve to bring this period of mindless cannibalism to an end. There's been enough of it.
Only after speaking for nearly an hour did he finally confirm what everyone in the chamber already knew, that he was resigning.
I'm going to make you a proposition. Let me give you back this job you gave to me as a propitiation for all of this season of bad will that has grown up among us. Give it back to you. I will resign as Speaker of the House, effective upon the election of my successor. Republicans, please don't get in your heads you need to get somebody else because of John Tower. Democrats, please don't feel that you need to get somebody on the other side because of me.
Wright's troubles began almost a year ago when Republican Congressman Newt Gingrich claimed that Wright had sold a book he wrote to special interest groups as a way to skirt congressional limits on outside income from speeches. As the House Ethics Committee probed that situation, the investigation led to charges that Wright's friend, Fort Worth developer George Malik, had made improper gifts to Wright by allowing him the use of a Fort Worth apartment, and that additional funds had been improperly funneled to Wright when his wife Betty was put on the payroll of a company that the Wrights and Malik owned jointly. A South Texas oil well venture and a nursing home that Wright invested in also came under committee scrutiny. As he argued again today, Wright maintained that he had never knowingly violated House rules, and this afternoon reaction from his colleagues ranged from sadness to anger.
Lynched by leaks, found guilty without trial. That's what happened.
Most of us on the Republican side feel very bad about what's happened to him today. But it's important to remember that the Speaker's problems today were not caused by anyone other than the Speaker.
I hope his advice that we stop turning this place into Beirut and run this like a Congress will be adopted by all sides.
We've got to get beyond that and get on with the people's business.
And if there was one statement that Republicans and Democrats could agree on, that was probably it. Because until Wright went to the floor of the House today, this was a parliamentary body on the verge of coming apart, running amok. Rumors were at flood stage, paranoia was high, no one knew what was going to happen next, or in fact, what ought to happen next. Dan?
Bob, there still are accusations pending against Jim Wright, and there are some Republicans outside the House of Representatives who say, look, as unpleasant as it may be, they need to be pressed to conclusion. What happens to those accusations?
Well, the Ethics Committee, just a couple of minutes ago, had been scheduled to meet tomorrow. They held a meeting tonight and decided to postpone that meeting for about 9 days, which is the first indication that everybody up here wants to let this thing cool off. And I think most people feel at this point, Dan, that the committee may never vote on these charges, that Mr. Wright will leave, and that will be it.
Bob Schieffer, thanks. President Bush put out immediate words of praise for Jim Wright this afternoon. President Bush said, and I quote him now, "The Speaker and I are both from Texas. We've been friends for many years. In spite of the present situation, I believe the Wright tenure was one of effectiveness and dedication to the Congress of the United States," unquote. With the resignations of Speaker Wright and of House Majority Whip Tony Coelho, The Democratic leadership is in disarray. Our congressional correspondent Deborah Potter looks now at how it's likely to be sorted out.
The Democrats will begin getting their House back in order early next week when Majority Leader Tom Foley is expected to be named the new Speaker. A 25-year veteran of the House from Washington State, Foley is widely respected as a consensus builder who will try to set a more conciliatory tone for Congress. The leading candidate for his job as Majority Leader is Missouri Congressman Richard Gephardt, described by his colleagues as a pragmatic politician who's also seen as a Mr. Clean. His only opponent, Georgia Congressman Ed Jenkins, is not given much of a chance. The third-ranking leadership position, Majority Whip, also is up for grabs. 4 candidates already are in the running: David Bonnier of Michigan, Beryl Anthony of Arkansas, Henry Waxman of California, and William Gray of Pennsylvania. For Democrats, Wright's resignation came as a great relief. After months of political agony, there was talk of getting back to business under new management.
We cannot legislate when we're engaging in an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth kind of vitriol that poisons the well of public policy. People don't want us to bicker. They want us to solve the problems. It's going to take strong leadership to make that happen.
I just know that American families have problems. They're very real problems. We have to get back to the agenda that deals with those problems as quickly as we can.
But some Republicans say that new leadership in the House will not end the partisan war.
I think it's the result of one group being in control for 35 years. Frankly, if the Republican Party was in control of the House for 35 years, the shoe might be on the other foot. You know, there's an old axiom that absolute power corrupts, and these guys had about as close to absolute power as you could have.
Democrats still hope their new leadership team can put an end to the battle over ethics, but they're warning their Republican colleagues that if they keep fighting, they risk destroying the institution they also serve. Deborah Potter, CBS News on Capitol Hill.
Now, another top Democrat has come under fire, William Gray, who is head of the House Democratic Caucus. CBS News law correspondent Rita Braver broke the story that Gray's office is under some kind of investigation, and she has today's developments.
Sources familiar with the case say that the Justice Department and the FBI are trying to determine whether Philadelphia Congressman William Gray knew of or authorized any no-show employees in the House, employees who were on the payroll but did no work. His attorney said Gray categorically denies knowing of or approving such a scheme, and the facts will make that more than abundantly clear. Last night, Congressman Gray acknowledged that he was visited by 2 FBI agents this weekend. He said the agents wanted to question him, and he offered his cooperation if they would tell him the nature of the allegations, but he said they replied they could not.
It may sound unbelievable that this can happen in America, but that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what happened.
Gray said he was informed that he was not the target or the subject of the investigation, but the Wall Street Journal today reported that Gray's name is listed as the subject of the investigation on Justice Department documents. The probe is still considered in the early stages. Gray suggested the story was made public to influence his run for a House leadership position.
I have to question the sources of these leaks and their motives as well as their timing.
In a letter to Attorney General Richard Thornburg about the original CBS News report, Gray demanded that you initiate an investigation into the source of these leaks. Thornburg quickly responded with a letter saying he had ordered a full investigation of the apparent unauthorized disclosure of information in this matter. Gray's Democratic colleagues charge that the investigation is politically motivated.
I think Bill is a guy who's very talented, who some of the Republicans fear. And somewhere, somebody in the executive branch decided that they ought to try and trip him up.
It would seem to me that perhaps inquiring minds would want to know, are Democrats being subjected to a Chinese water torture orchestrated for political purposes by members of the Republican Party?
Spokesmen for both the FBI and the Justice Department refused any direct comment on this case, but they denied that there is any political motivation behind any of their criminal investigations, Dan.
Rita, the Justice Department now says it's going to investigate leaks about the investigation. Is this unusual?
Well, there are always leak investigations that go on, as you know from your years of experience covering these things. But right now there are several other leak investigations involving Democratic politicians, including stories that appeared about Tony Coelho, the congressman from California who just resigned, and also about Mayor Tom Bradley. So this is a big leak investigation period at the department, too.
Well, what are the possibilities, Rita, that this is the result of a politicized Justice Department and the motives are political, or is that seen by Washington as mostly a smokescreen?
Right now, I can't tell you what anybody in Washington thinks because everybody seems to have a different opinion on this. However, the people that I spoke to within the department were absolutely adamant that this was not politically motivated. That's the only thing I can tell you. They say that the timing was strictly coincidental.
Rita Braber, thank you very much. Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, Leslie Stahl on a day of praise for President Bush in West Germany, and Richard Roth on the new symbol of China's student revolution.
Take your favorite flavor of ice cream and add the nutty, crunchy taste of Post Grape Nuts, the cereal with oomph.
1, 0, liftoff.
And send your taste buds into orbit. Oomph it up with Grape Nuts. This is smooth, creamy yogurt. And this is how your taste buds see it. Add the nutty, crunchy taste of Post Grape Nuts, the cereal with oomph, and send your taste buds on a wild adventure. Oomph it up with Grape Nuts.
If they could see you now, they'd see you're having fun. Taking in the sights and playing in the sun. They won't believe that you are such a good sport. Buying all those gifts in a tropical port. All I can say is, wow, I'm having such a ball. What a friendship, holy cow. They'd never believe it if your friends could see you now.
Take a 3, 4, 7-day cruise on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
Are you okay, Dad?
Sure, doctor said it's heartburn.
Heartburn and high blood pressure. He wants him to cut out salt. Well, you better do it. He will. Don't worry.
If you're one of millions of heartburn sufferers and also have to cut out salt, cut it out of your antacid, too. Riopan Plus 2 is sodium-free, and it starts neutralizing stomach acid in 10 seconds.
Dessert?
Well, you're sure feeling better, Dad.
For heartburn and indigestion, Riopan Plus 2, sodium-free, and it works fast.
After a successful debut as leader of the Western Alliance, President Bush today extended a hand and a challenge to the East. In West Germany, the president pledged to do all he can to open the closed societies of Eastern Europe, and he called on Mikhail Gorbachev to tear down the most famous section of the rusting Iron Curtain. Leslie Stahl is traveling with the president.
George Bush the Conqueror. He took a triumphant boat ride down the Rhine River in Germany today. His friendly host, Chancellor Helmut Kohl, just last week his adversary on arms policy. Mr. Bush was demonstrably elated by the almost universal praise he has won in Europe for his new arms control initiative.
Thank you, Chancellor Kohl.
In a ringing speech in the ancient city of Mainz, the president kept up his foreign policy offensive. He said it's time to end the Cold War and issued yet another challenge to Mr. Gorbachev.
Let Berlin be next. Let Berlin be next.
Telling an audience of cheering Germans what they longed to hear, Mr. Bush called on his rival in Moscow to bring glasnost to East Berlin.
There, this brutal wall cuts neighbor from neighbor, brother from brother, and that wall stands as a monument to the failure of communism. It must come down. Now,
the president didn't stop at Berlin. His call is for the end of a divided Europe.
the passion for freedom cannot be denied forever. The world has waited long enough. The time is right. Let Europe be whole and free.
He won even more cheers by suggesting that now it's Gorbachev who's moving too slowly toward conventional arms cuts. This week began with fears of a rift in NATO and frayed relations between the U.S. and Germany. Now even the battle-scarred negotiators are on friendly terms.
Useful, fruitful, constructive,
Useful, fruitful, constructive, frank.
West German leaders are ecstatic with the new George Bush. So are some of their constituents.
I have friends in the Eastern Europe part of Eastern Europe, and they tell me Gorbachev is our hope. They tell me, and so I can say them now, see or look at the American president and at the Western Alliance. We can give you also a hope.
Mr. Bush left Germany today with a new image and a boost in his PR duel with Mr. Gorbachev. but the Soviet leader goes to Germany in 2 weeks. This trip was clearly just one round in a match that is only just underway. Leslie Stahl, CBS News, London.
Economists waited anxiously for today's report on the U.S. government's broadest measure of future economic activity because that index had declined for 2 straight months. 3 declines in a row for the index of leading indicators may signal the beginning of a recession. But the Commerce Department today reported the index jumped a robust 0.8% in April. That increase was boosted considerably by a 2.7% rebound in factory orders.
All brand, part of your health kick? Yeah. Helps ensure I get enough fiber.
Each morning, Tracy Reed takes out some fiber insurance with Kellogg's All Bran, concentrated fiber that can help her meet the National Cancer Institute's guidelines for a high-fiber, low-fat diet. A diet some studies suggest may reduce the risks of certain forms of cancer.
Oh, you're crazy to worry about stuff like that.
And I'd be crazy not to.
Kellogg's All Bran. Make it your daily fiber policy.
Watch your mail for 7 brand new chances to get rich in the American Family Sweepstakes. First to award 2 $10 million prizes. You've already met David Brumbelow. Now meet the second $10 million winner, Janice Hamblin.
You may be next.
The next $10 million winner. And you could win another million July 7th in the only sweepstakes with my picture. Just think, you, a millionaire, this summer. That's fast. So you be fast. Enter at once.
Got a nice minty taste to it.
That's good.
Can you say that about your liquid antacid? If not, taste Tums Liquid.
It has a nice taste to it. It's delicious. Tums tastes the best.
Tums Liquid. It works, and it really tastes good.
Miss!
There are headaches. And headaches. There's aspirin and Anacin. The Anacin aspirin formula relieves headaches better than regular aspirin.
Feel better?
Not just better, better.
Anacin, better relief.
The rulers of China staged a demonstration of their own today, while in Tiananmen Square, student protesters were rallying around the new symbol of their cause. Richard Roth is in Beijing.
It was the government marching today, not in Tiananmen Square, but in villages miles away, summoning farmers and workers to denounce the students' pro-democracy movement, burning a well-known dissident in effigy. But in the skirmish of symbols between authority and dissent, the students are plainly winning. The Statue of Liberty, made of plastic foam, has dominated Beijing's Central Square from the moment it rose over the students' encampment. A crude piece of art that's become an instant icon. It's captivated the capital and infuriated the men who claim to run the city. This morning, the government called it illegal and, worse, humiliating. Almost as if the ragged band of student protesters who've been camped for more than 2 weeks on China's most sacred square aren't the issue anymore.
I'm building our home.
The students say they're building homes, surveying the square as if they're planning a high-rise. The government's at a loss for words.
The government implied a deadline for clearing the square when authorities pointed out that Children's Day is celebrated tomorrow, a day when the square traditionally belongs to the school children of China.
State TV tonight solemnly reported the disappointment of Beijing's youth, saying the children want very much to dance in their square. But Chinese TV isn't reporting the high-stakes game of who's in charge. The power struggle that has paralyzed the government shows no outward sign of resolution, nor has there been evidence of much new resolve to enforce the 12-day-old declaration of martial law. Demonstrations that move from one public building to the next occasionally test the patience of Beijing bureaucrats. But there has been only a handful of arrests. Security troops stay mostly out of sight. And most of the city seems routinely nonchalant, as if there's nothing at all unusual going on here. Nothing at all but a 30-foot sculpture in a broad public square, a piece of art from the School of Self-Expression. Richard Roth, CBS News, Beijing.
In Moscow, communist maverick Boris Yeltsin unloaded a blistering attack on Mikhail Gorbachev today from the podium of the new Congress. Yeltsin said Gorbachev has accumulated so much power as party chairman and president that there's danger of a new dictatorship. Gorbachev listened with no visible emotion as his former protege called for a yearly referendum on the president's performance. On Soviet television's Evening News, Yeltsin's comments about Gorbachev were edited out. Argentina is generally calm tonight after food riots that left at least 12 people dead. Sporadic looting of food stores was reported in suburbs of Buenos Aires as police patrolled the streets. Nearly 5,000 police kept order in the city of Rosario, scene of the worst rioting. The rioting was touched off by soaring inflation and a sharp decline in consumers' buying power. Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party made it official today. Foreign Minister Susuke Uno will be Japan's new prime minister. A special session of parliament is expected to formally elect Uno later this week. He will succeed Toburo Takeshita, who is quitting over the political payoff scandal that has practically paralyzed Japan's government.
It took 2,000 years, but a revolutionary discovery is changing the way men think about coloring their gray hair. It's called Just for Men, from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men, and in 5 minutes, shampoo out. Your gray is blended away, leaving your natural-looking color. 5 minutes. Here, look at me. Just for Men leaves your hair looking healthy and fuller, and it won't fade or wash out. Just for Men, in the men's hair care section.
Today's Wednesday. For some people, just another day. But not for me, because like yesterday, and every day since recovering from my heart attack, I'm following my doctor's orders and taking an aspirin.
Only your doctor knows what's best for you. So if you've had a heart attack, ask how a regimen that includes exercise, a healthy diet, and tri-buffered bufferin every day might benefit you.
Bufferin's a part of my life now.
Try buffered bufferin. Ask your doctor about it.
Good friends and good food, but my stomach aches. My party, and Mylanta too.
Double strength Mylanta 2 with nearly double the acid neutralizing power of any leading regular strength brand.
Because my life takes Mylanta 2.
The old gray Subaru ain't what she used to be. Introducing the Subaru Legacy.
Disturbing new questions have come up about the standard blood test for AIDS. Researchers said today that the AIDS virus can apparently live in the body for years without detection by such tests. Jerry Bowen has our report.
The Los Angeles study focused on 133 homosexual men who practiced high-risk sex and found that in nearly a quarter of the cases, the virus that causes AIDS went undetected by standard blood tests, had in fact been silently infecting some of the men for months, if not years.
And some of them, we isolated the virus somewhere around 36 months, and they had not yet seroconverted.
That means that nearly 3 years after the virus was isolated by sophisticated techniques, some of the subjects were still testing negative on the standard blood test for AIDS antibodies.
Individuals that continue to practice high-risk activities and have not modified their behavior would be individuals that should be concerned in this by the results of this study.
Before the Los Angeles study, doctors had believed it took about 6 months for AIDS antibodies to show up, and researchers say that may still be true for hemophiliacs or IV drug users who contract the virus directly in the bloodstream. But doctors say this new study strongly suggests the need for a better test.
I think there are in horizon antibody tests that might be able to detect early infections. And these are the tests that probably needs to be used.
Red Cross officials say the likelihood of silent AIDS virus carriers donating blood is remote, though not impossible.
The most important thing about making blood as safe as we can is that we permanently defer people who have high-risk behavior.
Ironically, these silent carriers who show no sign of the virus or the disease may hold the key to prevention.
It's going to be very interesting to find out how people control the infections naturally. And then, of course, we'd like to improve upon that. We'd like to use that information to make vaccines.
The researchers also studied a sample of the homosexual population which claims to practice safe sex. And so far, none of these men has been found to be a silent carrier of the AIDS virus. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
After waging wars against AIDS and smoking, C. Everett Koop is taking on alcohol. The outgoing Surgeon General kicked off a campaign today against drunken driving, blamed for 25,000 U.S. deaths each year. Among Coop's proposals, states should reduce their legal limit for blood alcohol content from 0.1% to 0.04%. And for drivers under 21, 0%, zero tolerance. Coop also called for higher taxes on alcohol, eliminating so-called happy hours, and restricting alcohol, including beer advertising, aimed at young people.
Smells good.
Like a Carolina pine forest. That's Lysol Pine Action. I cleaned this morning. It disinfects and works fast. But the scent lasts for hours.
It's nice, but how'd they get a pine forest in there?
Lysol Pine Action. The clean of pine every time.
Pain. Pain that throbs. Pain that pulses. Remember, there is a wonder drug doctors themselves take more often for pain. More than extra-strength Tylenol. More than Advil. More doctors take Bayer. For pain, Bayer is the wonder drug that works wonders.
To see how a bathroom gets this shiny clean, you have to go back to the beginning. To fresh-scented Lysol Basin Tub and Tile Cleaner. Lysol has the power to cut through dirt and soap scum, and it disinfects. Try Fresh Scent Lysol. It's how the shiniest bathrooms get their start.
There's gotta be a cure for athlete's foot.
There is. Step up to the mic.
Mike?
Micotin. It cured my athlete's foot. It's got miconazole. There's nothing more powerful than this.
Step up to the cure. Step up to the mic. Micotin.
There's no bathroom on the bus.
Relax. Took the Imodium AD, didn't you?
Unlike the leading remedy, Imodium AD often stops diarrhea with one dose.
10-minute rest stop.
You coming?
Nope, I'm fine.
Imodium AD, it can make your first attack your last.
A sad day at CBS News. A day we knew was coming, but a hard day. Terry Drinkwater, a CBS newsman for 25 years, died of cancer today in Los Angeles. He packed a lot of life into his 53 years. He covered everything. Everything. He was tall, thin, intense, and he was one of the best in that difficult trade, general assignment reporting. He was a traveling man working the western states. Riots, disasters, politics, funny stories, sad ones. He did them all. But he made the Alaska story his own.
Only something as overpowering as Alaska's mountains could make a supertanker seem small.
What he did was report. In 1983, he reported on the disease that killed him.
To cancer patients at the turn of the century, the word almost always meant simply death. But today, nearly half of all major cancers are curable. Over and over, I was told the cancer I had, a small tumor on the larynx, was easily treatable with radiation, the odds excellent. And yet, for the mind and spirit, there were some bad, dark times. Until at last, the good doctor could poke the fiber optic camera down my throat and see it was gone.
The battle lasted 6 years. He lost. We all did. You too. Terry Drinkwater was one of the people who helped invent television news reporting, helped make it what it is. It won't be the same without him. That's tonight's CBS Evening News. Dan Rather. See you tomorrow. Good night.
This is CBS.